Hi guys, here we are in a new episode of What to Play Over the Weekend Ranked, the series where I analyze the Gods Unchained meta, the best decks and so on. And actually today's episode is different because we got a balance patch, the third balance patch of Dread Awakening. I will not go through all the balance patch because I actually have a video about it, so go check the video if you're interested in that. But making these things short, Death was nerfed, Nature was nerfed, and Magic got buffed. So those three things changed actually the meta, because Death, if you remember, everyone was playing Death because it was just so good. When instead Mystery was not really played, when instead now is probably the best deck or one of the best. Deception as well, as you can see from there, has two really solid deck and is the best god with Magic, when instead Nature is the worst god. That's why, because like it was already not super good and now it got even pretty big nerf like or regression and so on. So right now I wouldn't play Nature. If I had to suggest, I would play or Magic or Death or Deception. But now let's go check lead rate, and as you can see even the play rate is pretty balanced, everything is around 20%. So now instead let's go check lead rate the archetype for see what are the best decks. Atlantean is at the top, like I always say in this series. I mean, I don't want, but every time I say just how good Atlantean is. Then even bitter ending is still really solid because, I mean, Death is still really good after the nerf. Then we have the two Deception archetypes that are really good. And then, as you can see, there is even a Ramp Magic there that I think will go even up, like, because this is 3 days, but the patch was just from 2 days. So I expect this one to go even a bit higher, and probably bitter ending and Bomb Dragon to go a bit down. And now instead, let's go check literally the decks. So the first deck I want to start is Mystery, because I think it's literally the best deck in the meta. As you can see, 82% win rate, 75, $100, so not even too pricey, and like just all the mystery, all the changes. Like, I don't know guys if you know how to play the mystery, but essentially you have all those cards that like Uncover, Elderic Mystery, that give you Delve of the Mystery, that are other cards that are some spell. And how it got buffed, essentially now all those mystery will be lower mana, so like mystery that were like at 3 mana now are at 1 mana, or at 2 mana now are at 1 mana. So this change essentially gave you a lot of tempo for the mystery. That was actually the problem of mystery, because it was pretty slow. Now instead it's no more slow, and still you have a lot of value because you have a lot of cards that you can delve, you have a lot of cards that you can draw, and you can even OTK both with Arandion and even with Avatar of Magic. So this is how you play the deck. Essentially is pretty similar, I would say, to a card draw Magic, a bit more control-ish. And in the meantime that you do that, you just want to uncover a lot of Elderic Mystery, go higher rarity on your Mystery, and get Avatar of Magic versus Control. When instead versus Aggro, you just need literally to deal with the board, and then you can win like with Emberoni and so on. Probably I would even add Ortuk in this deck if you have some, because it's just an amazing card. This card is actually one of the best opener in the game. Like, versus Control this card, you put this and every time it attacks, it uncover an Elderic Mystery. That is literally like the purpose of all the deck. And guys, versus Control, this is literally unkillable. Like, trust me, it's super hard to kill. You would want to mulligan this away versus aggro, when instead versus Control, you for sure want to keep this out, and try to get the most mystery you want. And I mean, as I said, this is still an Arandion deck. You still have Arandion, so even if you're not going for the mystery OTK because you can't, or you lost a bunch of mystery, it's not a problem because you still can just win with Arandion. So this deck is amazing, and I mean, you can kind of see this from the win rate. So now the second Magic deck is Atlantean. Guys, I don't even want to talk about Atlantean. I made like a 10 episode of this series, and probably Atlantean is in all of them, almost at least. It's just amazing. It's probably the best deck overall in Gods Unchained. It costs $100, but it's just so good. I mean, it's just go wide. Essentially, like I will tell pretty fast, go wide, stick a Francesca, make a 50-50 goblins, and kill your opponent. That's kind of it. Now you got even a bit more sustain with like Dread Replicator. This is still really good because you put a 6 mana 5/5 and it will summon other Atlantean and they have to kill it, because if not it just snowball. But yeah, that's kind of how you play this deck. Like, just go wide, stick Francesca, win, and maybe if you don't win like that, you can try with Mana Starved and Dread Replicator to give the last hit. But yeah, generally you win with Francesca. I mean, 70% win rate out of 200 games. This deck is just crazy, literally. Now instead, let's go check things that are a bit more funny and a bit different. This is our Staff Deception. Why does this name? Well, because this deck is based on stealing cards, this obliteration of the void, so it's like Deception, that you take things, you do a lot of things, a lot of weird things. So, what are the new cards that we can see? I mean, this is essentially a controlish deception. I mean, a control deception actually without controlish. It's literally control. And you have all the new package of Dread Awakening that's still a lot of cards. So you have Path of Deception, you have Cherished Memory that you obliterate a creature from your opponent void, and this one transform into it, and these make a huge combo with Karst, because Karst essentially is a 6 mana 5/5. When you summon it, you obliterate a creature, and every time essentially a creature is obliterated from the void, you summon a copy with Blitz. So essentially, if you have already Karst out and you play this one, you will play this one, it will make a copy of that creature, and you will even summon that creature with Karst. That's how strong it is. Then, as you can see, there is Dream Eater, that is essentially the old Cutthroat, so you steal a card if you're detached, you literally steal a card. And this is why our Staff Deception, because with double Dream Eater, Charm, even Cutthroat the Delay, you will like literally take all the cards from their end, so it's pretty huge. And even from their board, thanks to Lysel, thanks to even Karst, thanks to Amber Arrow. So this is, I think, a really good deck. Is though a bit harder, to be honest, if I have to say, I think, to manage. Like, not, like, it's, yeah, you gotta learn it. But yeah, it's for sure super funny and super good. Like, this deck is probably one of the funniest in Gods Unchained right now, so if you have the cards, I would suggest you to play this. The other one is instead a Guild Deception. That is the first super budget deck we have in today's episode. 15 bucks with 73% win rate. Like, that is crazy. And I mean, it's kinda similar to the budget deception I made a video about. I don't know if you remember. But essentially, it has just the new cards that I couldn't put because it was not already the new set. So, what they added, Tooth Fee, double, that is, I mean, you gotta put this because it's just such a good card. It's a 2/3 hidden, and when it attacks, it just steal cards, so it's super amazing. And even Lysel, because it's just, as well, like, it's just amazing, this card. Gain the control of the weakest enemy creature if you detach it the strongest, and those creatures can even go phase. So, like, the purpose of this, like, is you can even just go phase and use it as the last damage, essentially, because this is an aggro. Like, you just go wide, a lot of zoo, a lot aggro, you push a lot of damage at the start. So this can be really helpful for give that last hit that probably, like, they play a big creature like, I don't know, a little elite, and you just steal it and go face with that and win. But yeah, overall, it's literally just a Guild Deception I made a video about, so just got zoo, a lot of guild, you draw it from entry. I would play, to be honest, 2 from entry in a deck like this, probably he had not. But yeah, still really good, 73% win rate, 10 bucks. And now instead, let's go on Death. So Death, as I said, it was actually nerfed. I think it's still really good. Like, I think you still totally can play Death. I wouldn't say the same of Nature. I think you shouldn't play Nature in this weekend ranked, at least. When he said that, you still can play and do really good. Rock Drake, I mean, Rock Drake, actually, like, the nerf of Death, it was not even huge. Like, I mean, Rock Drake, now this guy is no more a dragon, but do you really care in this deck? No, you don't, because you don't even have Burial Wyrm. So literally the nerf didn't touch it at all, this deck. So I mean, that's 66% win rate. If you don't know how to play this deck, it's just try to set up your combo, put a lot of Rock Drake, and go to less than 15 health for Bitter Ending, for play 2 Anotep most of the times with Serris, and do just an OTK with Over the Line. I mean, it's pretty hard to explain just from this video, but I mean, I can't literally explain everything. So this is how you play it, and actually, if you're interested in how to play this deck, I can make a video, just tell me in the comments. But yeah, and then you have just a lot of things for try to stall the game, so like sleep, afterlives, and so on, that just try to help you versus aggro for delay until you get the combo, essentially. Now instead, let's go on the other death, that is Bomb Dragon. That was the deck that was everywhere, literally everywhere over the week, because it doesn't cost a lot. I mean, it costs 100 bucks this one, but it can even cost less. And it's just amazing, guys. 81% win rate, like, this is crazy. But this one got hit a lot more from the recent nerf. Why is that? Because this deck played both Catacomb Praia, that was nerfed, now it make damage even to your own creature and no more face. And even this got removed the Dragon Tag, so you can't draw this one. So you can't proc with Burial Wyrm this one, and you can't draw it with Gain. So those are actually 2 pretty big buff. I think though this deck is still really good. Like, I'm not joking. I think this deck is still probably a 60% win rate deck, and it's still really good and not even too hard. So yeah, if you have those cards, you can totally play these and do really well into this weekend ranked. Now instead, let's go check probably the deck where you can, it's a bit harder to do well in the weekend ranked. So this is Nature. I mean, I went for aggro Nature because, as I said, Nature was a lot nerfed, and I think the control version was even more nerfed than the aggro version because regression and so on. So it's a bit hard, in my opinion, to play control Nature now. Still, aggro Nature is pretty solid. This is from Aldous. As you can see, 75% win rate. He is even a bad player, so probably you can reach easily 90% with this. No, I'm joking, but yeah, I mean, 75% win rate with Nature is for sure good. To be honest, as I said at the start, I wouldn't suggest you to play Nature at all. This is just, I want to bring every god in this series because if you have Nature cards, you should play this deck, I think, or something near to this. But yeah, don't play Nature if you can. And now instead, let's go on Light. So Light actually got an indirect buff, I think, because the nerf of Nature that was amazing versus Light now made Light a bit better. Although I don't think Light is meta at all. I mean, this deck is a really good win rate with 61% win rate and 60% for $7, so it's actually crazy if you are like super free to play player. I would play this probably, yeah, if you are super free to play player, it's really good. And it got buffed, as I said, because now Nature is a bit less present, and that was really good versus Light. Although, to be honest, if you got a good budget, I would totally go with a deck like this, Deception, because it's just a better deck, and I mean, even more future-proof. Like, this Deception is the best budget deck since like a lot, with a bit variation, but it's always the same. So, I wouldn't play Light and Nature, I would play the other for God that I already told you. Guys, this was another episode. If you want to not miss any of my video, remember to drop a sub and even comment and drop a like. Thank you, bye bye. And I guess see you to the next video.